Hi beautiful soul. In this video I want to talk about how to elevate yourself to Empress status. So stepping into your Empress power, which is the embodiment of sovereign, creative and nurturing feminine leadership. And this is how to do it in practice. So being a sovereign leader, so that means holding the highest authority in your realm, which is like your life. You can think of it like that. Your life is your realm. So that means you govern your life with vision, with responsibility. It means making decisions from a place of inner authority rather than out of fear or people pleasing or any external kind of factors. So it's pretty much taking complete control over your life in terms of decision making. It's also an archetype of abundance and nurturing. So that means abundance, fertility, and that can be creative projects. It can be creating any type of creation, basically. It's unconditional love. The Empress is linked with Venus, so that's beauty and creativity and just those beautiful, lovely things in life, matters of the heart, things like that. And so when you're tapping into this energy, when you elevate yourself to Empress status, you become a fertile ground for ideas, relationships, projects to flourish. And it's almost like stepping into this space naturally creates a flow of energy where ideas, creativity, like epiphanies just flow into you. It's not about sitting down necessarily and brainstorming and forcing ideas and creativity to come through. You create this place, this space, this vibration in your life that is you, to allow things to come in, to magnetize things in, and it actually happens. So, which is beautiful. And hard to trust, I must admit. Like, a lot of my life has been around forcing things and, applying logic only and having a plan and being really rigid with my plans as well. And so it was kind of uncomfortable to allow things to flow and to allow space for things to happen, for ideas to come, for flow to occur. Particularly after being in such a masculine energy for a lot of my life, which was actually quite effective in terms of achieving goals. But I think now in this Empress space, it just is a whole nother level in terms of creation, in terms of magic, in terms of magnetizing things that are good for me and that I enjoy, and it's really fun. So the Empress is also aligned with nature and the earth. So that means respecting our natural cycles. That means connecting with nature and also living in a way that's natural. And like nature, we don't have to force anything. If you're in alignment with the natural state of things, if you've got a positive vibration and a high vibration and you're living in a way that is in accordance with your values and on this more elevated level, then everything just falls into place. You're in a rhythm of creation and flow, and it's like your life becomes a garden that's beautiful and safe and like a sanctuary, and it's lush and it's growing and it's fertile. And so when you look at your life, you want to tend to your garden with care, making sure that everything is tended to, taken care of. You're not letting any toxic pesticides or weeds in your life, like people or situations or bad food or negativity or the news or anything that's going to disrupt your beautiful sanctuary of a garden in. So it's very protected. You've got strong solid walls around your garden. You're only letting in good things. Empress status is also about boundless compassion and also protection. So it's about protecting, providing, and sustaining. It's about having an authority that isn't harsh. It's leading your life with empathy, with forgiveness, with generosity, and also showing up in a way that knows when and to whom to offer support, and also when it's important to set boundaries and when to allow space to grow and things like that. It's also about cultivating an abundance mindset. So being in this elevated Empress status means there's always an abundance of love, of success, of resources for everyone. It means celebrating people's wins. It means investing in your own growth. It means designing environments, whether it's in your home, work, social life, that reinforce this feeling of enough, of more than enough, of abundance, of plenty, which is such a lovely way to be. And so that's what Empress energy or Empress status is. Empress status is not these things. It's not about neglect and imbalance. So it's not about ignoring your needs or the needs of others. It's not about overextending yourself without allowing space and time to replenish yourself and recharge your own batteries. It's not about insecurity and dependence. So insecurity and dependence is all about lacking self-worth, leaning too heavily on external validation or what other people think. It's about creative blocks and stagnation. So pretty much where your inspiration just isn't there, and there's blockages and things like that. It's not overbearing or smothering or trying to mother anyone. It's not trying to mother other people into growth rather than allowing things to develop organically. And so that's pretty much what it's not. So how do we create Empress status? Well, it's pretty much about looking at your entire life. If it's a garden, for example, you want to make sure that all the plants, all the corners of your garden are tended to, are appropriately weeded. And so that means getting rid of anything that's not in alignment, that's toxic, that's negative, that brings you down. If there's anything in your life or anyone in your life that does not make you feel good, that makes you feel less than, that belittles, that criticizes, that gossips, that projects things onto you, like these are the types of things that you want to just get out of your life if you can. And I know it's hard, but if you honestly think about, okay, is this person necessary or am I just concerned about hurting their feelings by removing them? That's a really good way to gauge it. So some things are absolutely, 100% necessary and you're stuck with them and you can't get rid of those things. And that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people, things that you actually can remove, but there's some other block like societal conditioning that's stopping you from doing that. So get everything out that kind of doesn't belong. It's about cultivating safety and strength and self-love and self-worth within yourself. So doing the work on yourself, it's about sitting in stillness, having heaps of time alone to allow your intuition to be heard, to connect with yourself, to block out anything that isn't you, so you know within yourself exactly how you feel about things. And that means using your own wisdom, your own discernment, your own compassion, feeling your creative flow and like following those things. It means studying yourself, your own qualities. It also means directing energy to things like nurturing things. It can be plants, it can be people, it can be yourself, it can be pets, it can be anything. Creativity, working on abundance as well. So if you've got any kind of lack mindset going on from childhood or something, that needs to go. Like, that's just going to block things from happening. You have to get really secure and safe within yourself. And I know it's like really hard, and it's taken me up like so many years to actually get to this point where I feel pretty safe and secure within myself from an abundance perspective. I feel like there's a flow that's constantly happening, and I finally removed anything that was blocking that. So that's really important too. So you can work on these things through journaling, there's plenty of resources out there. And I also worked with my psychologist, and I'm continuing to work with my psychologist about any blocks or potential blocks or perceived blocks that might come up around safety, security within the self, those types of things. And so you can also do rituals when it comes to abundance. So I have had this plant, and I am a killer of plants typically. I've had this plant for a while, which I had been kind of meditating on daily, not for long, just a couple of minutes, and kind of sending a flow of energy into this plant and nurturing this plant to grow, and kind of visualizing that the growth of this plant, and plants are nature is abundant, the growth of this plant and the health of this plant directly related to the health of my abundance and the growth of my abundance in my life. And it's been working. So if that works for you, then give it a go. So that might be like a ritual that you could do. And also like journaling and things like that are really good to kind of work through any blocks that you might have around abundance, like not trusting that the universe is beautiful and abundant. And if we can just get out of our own way and remove those blocks, we can allow ourselves to live a beautiful and abundant life. So it's also about cultivating intuitive sovereignty. So intuition is something that you need to connect with, and that can get blocked very easily. And I think the way that we live in these super hectic lives of like rushing around, of appointments and scheduling in ourselves like weeks or even a month in advance, doesn't actually allow space to connect with ourselves and to connect with our intuition. So I have always worked too much and bitten off more than I can chew, and had these like super scheduled in weeks where I just had no space to myself and was living in a constant state of stress, anxiety, rushing. Like all of that actually completely blocks your intuition. So when I was in that state of mind of like stress, of, you know, not feeling peace, just like stressed out, rushing around, I don't think I was in a good place to make great decisions for myself. Decisions were always really hard for me to make. Like I would sit on something for months, sometimes like 6 months even. Like I would know that, okay, this is something that's not going well in my life. This is something I'd want to improve. And I would just make decisions based off what other people suggested or what other people thought, or, you know, not based off something internal within me. So getting rid of things, making space, and creating that connection with yourself through meditation, through just having days to yourself where you don't talk to other people, where your inputs are very minimal, are very important and super effective at kind of connecting back in with intuition. And there's some kind of fun little tests that you can do. I've seen some on Instagram where, you know, it'll be like an intuition test, and you have to pick what item the person who created the video is going to choose. And there'll be maybe like, you know, 6 crystals or something on the table, and you tap into your intuition, and like it's surprisingly amazing how connected you can get where you're picking up the right answer 100% of the time. So that's just like a random thing you can try. You also have to protect your garden, your life, your domain, and that means career, relationships, health. So that is about setting rock solid boundaries around those things, to make sure that, yeah, your energy is protected. So I find that if I don't do that, if I'm rushing around, if I am struggling to manage my energy levels, I slip back into old negative patterns. I don't feel good. Bad things start to happen. Like when you're living a high vibrational life, it's surprising how the balance of good things happening and bad things happening is like tipped in the favor of like good things happening all the time. And I'm not saying that bad things will never happen, or, you know, it's still life. There's still that duality at the end of the day. But I found a direct correlation between living this high vibrational state with super strong boundaries, only allowing good things in that are good for me. Yeah, and having beautiful experiences, random experiences, just feeling more positive in life. So rock solid boundaries is very important. So the other thing to mention is investing energy into how you look, because that has a direct correlation with how you feel. That's embodying that Venus energy. And when you look good, you feel good. And when you feel good, you're showing up in the world in a completely different way than if you don't look good and don't feel good. So that's something that's really important as well. The next thing is mastering your resources. So that means taking control of your resources, so that you can provide security for yourself. So being in this Empress status means that you're not dependent on anyone else to meet your basic needs. Like, this is really important, because when you're dependent on others, then you cannot step into your sovereignty. It's like sort of that codependent energy where you can't 100% make the decisions that you want because it's reliant on someone else. So this is something that takes time. I can fully acknowledge that, but I think it's really important for anyone that wants to elevate themselves to Empress status to work on this, because it's such an empowering place to be. And I speak to a lot of people who are working on this, and when you're coming from a place of independence, the decisions that you can make for your life in terms of protecting your energy, your boundaries, are completely different than if you're dependent on someone else. So something to think about. I know it's, not easy, but there's plenty of information out there to work on this, like books and things like that. And so the final thing is about serving others and uplifting others. So when you're in a place of true sovereignty, that doesn't mean you're isolated. That means that you're in a position where your basic needs are met. You have removed anything toxic or negative or draining. You're full of energy and you've done a lot of growth. And so you want that to spill out of you. Your cup is full, and that spills out into the world, into the people around you, into creative projects. You're nurturing other people, you're helping other people. It's about, I've grown and I've healed, and my basic needs are met and my cup's full, and now I want that to overflow into other people around me, and feeling so abundant that you want that to literally overflow out of you into anyone around you who kind of is good for you and deserves your time and energy, and for them to benefit from the abundance that you feel, for them to benefit from something you might be able to provide them in terms of insights or connection or anything really. And so these are the things that I've done to truly step into my own Empress status, my sovereignty in this life, in this world, and it feels amazing. And I want this for everyone. And I really hope that this has helped someone because it's truly a magical and beautiful state to be living in. And I just want that for everybody. So I love you. Bye.